Hey guys, welcome back to the alcohol-free RV. We're underneath today trying to repair this hole that has kind of shown up. It was from a section that I'd cut out when I was working on the automatic or powered drain valves. And well, we lost a bunch of plastic on the road. So we're gonna figure this out today and see what we can do to repair the situation. So this is one of the pieces of Coroplast that came off of the bottom of our RV. I had tried to secure it using these zip ties. You know, I just drilled some holes in and used the zip ties to kind of secure it to the piece that was already there. And while it came flying off, we almost rolled over it. It was still connected on the corner. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to replace this and another section. So what I did, I bought 2 4x8 sheets of Coroplast from the local big box store. I figured it's the same stuff that's underneath there, but it is a different color. It's white, so bright, but whatever, it should do the job just fine. Now, I did get a number of supplies and tools ready so that I can try to do my best to get this to stay in place. And well, we'll start. So I've got this galvanized hanger strap and some tin snips so that I can try to strap it up as best as possible. And also I can use this as kind of like a washer so that my screws don't pull through. And I'll be using number 10 by 1 inch screws in the hanger strap, and they should work out just fine. I've used these before in other smaller pieces of Coroplast that haven't come off yet, so we might have to revisit how that's done. Now, I figured that it might be good to also have some silicone sealant on here just to weather seal everything. I figured that this adhesive would be a good thing to use in between the sheets so that I can get a nice solid seal and keep it weatherproof. In addition, I got some extreme weather foil tape. It's a HVAC tape, but it's for like all temperatures, and it has a durable bond in harsh weather. So hopefully it will stay secure to the Coroplast while in transit. And then of course, there's gonna be some gaps and stuff that need to be filled up. So I got some expanding spray foam there to fill in any of those gaps. And then of course, to put the new bolts in, we'll be using a drill with an appropriate tip and of course, caulking gun. So I think that's what I should need to get this done. So let's get to it. We'll see what we're up against, and hopefully this won't go too poorly. The first thing that I'd like to note is kind of the alignment of some things. So if you're gonna do a repair like this on your RV, you just wanna make note that you may not be able to get like a solid piece of lumber or angle bracket or whatever to go transverse across the width of your RV, which is why I'm trying that galvanized strapping. In our case, the wires here should be able to be kind of pushed up and out of the way, but the black tank and the gray tank both hang below the level of the frame here, so I wouldn't be able to use something firm and solid, hence the strapping. The other issue that I'm going to have is the orientation of the sewer line here. That's the sewer line that comes back to the black tank here and goes in. Since that is at such an angle, I'll have to work around that as well. So what I hopefully will be able to do is take down the propane line here, get the strapping underneath here as well, and also the Coroplast, the new Coroplast, and then just kind of work my way across. I'm gonna align these things kind of transversely across the RV and figure out how I can work around all of this piping while still keeping it kind of inside, for the most part, inside of the new sheeting. So wish me luck, and hopefully you'll be able to find some tips out of this video. If you like videos where you can see kind of how to do some repairs and modifications to your RV, go ahead, click that subscribe button, and you'll see all the interesting stuff that we do with our RV. I'm trying to get the space so that I can get the new Coroplast and strapping in between this pipe and this frame. The outside frame rails here, but I'm gonna have some issues in this back corner because it goes around the back end of this frame. So I'm gonna have to pull a couple more of these straps off so that I can get all the way down into that corner. One of the convenient parts about this repair that I didn't expect is I have a nice sheet so that I'm not rolling around on all of the rocks and everything underneath our camper. So it makes it a little bit more comfortable. There is some prior foam and stuff on this back frame rail, and so I'm just trying to peel that off as best as I can. I'm not going to worry about making it perfect, but because I'm going to spray some new stuff in there, I just don't want this in the way, causing problems with the new adhesion. And the other thing that I want to note is I'm going to leave all of the existing Coroplast in place as it is. I'm not going to worry about taking it all down. While we were on the road, I forgot about this. We were on the road and these pieces came off. All of this bundle of wires came down, and so I've just kind of zip tied them in place just to keep them up off of the road. So maybe a little bit of cleanup work here with some of these wires is in order. All right, so while we were on the side of the road, I also just kind of strapped everything else to the sewer line. Not sure I really like that, so I'm gonna cut this strap that I put on the side of the road and kind of pull up to this framing member here. Another thing that we ran into, I had to strap this up. This is a vent that goes towards the back of the RV, and it was hanging free when this piece came off. It apparently had been resting on the Coroplast. So I'm gonna leave that there just so that it's supported. And this one's kind of interesting. So some RVs have heated underbellies. That's how they do it. They just kind of run a duct to it. Our freshwater tank is here, so I think the goal of this is to warm this water tank up. And I mean, there's a big metal framing member there, so I don't know how much that actually does. There's a gap here, but I think the goal is to get in just enough heat to keep this stuff not frozen. All right, so I've gotten all of these wires strapped up to the frame as best I can. So now comes the fun part of trying to align and install the new Coroplast. I think the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to start at that back corner because I've got a nice long straight edge here and a nice straight edge that goes across here. And this is going to be the kind of best corner to start because that'll allow me to do what I need to do, fold, flex, bend, cut, tear, whatever, to get around all of this stuff and the protrusion for the sewer line. What I'm trying to do is just get this aligned with the back of that frame, which I think I've succeeded in that. I got the first bolt started. I'm using the bigger holes. There's two size holes in here. I'm using the bigger ones. All right, I would say that I'm probably a little more than halfway done hanging the Coroplast. Now, I've only gotten one sheet done, but this is the sheet that had the biggest obstacles to get around. Lots of propane hoses over here, obviously the sewer pipe that we talked about, and getting it around there, which I feel like that's going to work out just fine. I'll be able to fill in the space here in between with spray foam and cover that up. Now, one thing that I did to make my life just a little bit easier, you can see here, I've got a stack of blocks and a level. The level is not leveling anything, it's just holding things up for me at this point. So if you have the ability to stack something up to hold this up, I think it's going to work out in your favor just a little bit better, because this stuff wants to sag by default. So that worked out for me, so maybe you want to give that a try if you're rehanging Coroplast. I did put a couple of marks where my drain master valves are, so that if I do need to get in here in the future, I know where to look. That's kind of a thing that I learned. Not knowing where items are inside the underbelly is kind of a pain in the butt. All right, so the second piece is gonna go in just like that. I've cut it down to 2 feet, and just what was gonna work for me. I think what I'm gonna do now is slather a bunch of that silicone on the back side or the top side of the white piece, so that I can get it, effectively sealed all the way across both the original Coroplast up here and the first piece of the new white piece that I put in back here. And hopefully that will allow all of this to seal pretty well. The silicone should allow for greater adhesion and hopefully prevent any flyaways like we had.